The power process. What is it and why is it so important? So the power process is at the core of our evolutionary psychology and our physiology, actually. It's in our genetic makeup, our DNA, our core. And we're physically built to perform the activities required to attain our survival goals. The power process is the process of realizing and working to attain our primitive basic survival needs. So the Industrial Society in its Future essay published in 1995 describes the power process as mainly four pieces. Those are goal, effort to get your goal, achieving or attaining the goal, and usually the fourth one is the autonomy. So what this means, you have to have a meaningful or satisfying goal, which requires effort on your part to obtain, and you actually have to be able to obtain it. And most people need the fourth part, which is autonomy or free will or free thinking in their decisions and efforts of how to attain the goal. You can't just have one say, okay, here's your goal, here's how you're going to attain it, here's the tools you need to attain it, go do it. Because then you're just following somebody else's rules or instructions. You're just doing what they tell you. There's no autonomy or self involved in that situation. So how do we know that the power process is necessary? Well, the main example throughout all of history has been that for wealthy people or people of royalty, they can ask for and get basically anything they want. So they have a goal, and they have the power to obtain their goal, but they don't go through the process. They don't experience the effort and work that it takes to attain that goal or desire. If the people are super wealthy, plenty of money and resources, they'll end up going through a period of like hedonism, where they're just doing all sorts of bad stuff. And they keep doing worse and worse things because they're just never satisfied because they haven't gone through the power process. And they usually end up bored and demoralized and fat and unhealthy, okay? So power, people with money and wealth have power, but power is not enough. And perhaps that's why the wealthiest, globalist, elitists always want more money and more power and more control. All of the things that have been happening for the past 100 years at least, since the Rockefellers and Carnegies kind of came on the scene, and especially what most of us have realized, especially since March of 2020, that we feel more controlled. So it looks to us like the government and just society are trying to control us. But make no mistake about this. The governments are controlled by the elitists' money. And the elitists and the wealthiest continually want more and more power and control over the people. But they're not experiencing the power process because it's easy for them to do. There's no effort required. So they cannot, and they will never be satisfied with the amount of power and control they have because it requires no effort on their part. So they just keep trying for more and more, and that's what's happening to the common people. So, that's the wealthiest are going through that, but the rest of us, we either have non-existent goals, no significant goals, or our goals are artificial and set by society and Hollywood, and our goals fulfill no evolutionary needs. So we either never achieve our goals, we don't have any goals, or the goals we achieve just don't serve our evolutionary needs, and we end up feeling defeated or just low self-esteem or depressed. We're just unsatisfied. So what do? We develop something called surrogate activities. So we have to find or create something to serve the power process. We have to create some goals that have some meaning to us, that require some effort, that we can achieve. And the essay terms these as surrogate activities. So since we're so unfulfilled by our daily tasks and workplace goals, we've got to come up with something more fulfilling to do. So we have to create something for ourselves. Modern industrial society is full of these surrogate activities. It's basically anything that isn't directly related to obtaining your physiological or evolutionary or survival goals, like food, water, shelter, survival, okay? So now you may think that when you go to work to earn money, that's part of your evolutionary survival goal fulfillment, but it's not. It's still a surrogate activity because most jobs in our modern industrial society or forms of income, they basically require you to be obedient to the rules of the job or to the system. So, you can look at assembly line, production, factory type jobs. Yeah, you're repetitious. You're doing the same thing over and over. There's not a lot of autonomy there. That's kind of obvious. But even other jobs where it looks like you're making some decisions and solving some problems, you still have a SOP, a standard operating procedure. You still have a rule book or a bunch of manuals that tell you how to make your decisions. You're not really making autonomous decisions. Even people who are self-employed, they still have to kind of gear their job or their business towards what the consumer wants and what society wants from them. So they may have some autonomy there, but they're still not doing exactly what they want. So these things just end up being, unfulfilling. Most of our work in money making is unfulfilling. Even those working in, scientific research, they do scientific research to feel fulfilled or important, or like they're making a difference in the world by solving a problem. They don't do it for the money. I mean, they don't make money usually, but you can tell they're doing it for the fulfillment because their lives aren't fulfilled otherwise. Because as soon as they solve some scientific problem or R&D issue, they're immediately looking for something else to do or solve. And hitting a little closer to home, an example in the essay is the long distance runner is always pushing himself to run farther and faster. How many of my ultra running endurance athlete friends, everybody's always just trying to do something bigger and better and farther and faster and more awesome. If we were busy homesteading and growing our own food and hunting our own meat and surviving, we wouldn't feel as much desire to get out and run as far and fast as we can, theoretically, okay? So this is all because modern society, modern industrial society, it's mundane, it's unfulfilling, so we seek out hobbies or surrogate activities to make us feel accomplished or useful or important. So we have to find our own ways to experience the power process. That's what that's all about, is experience the power process. Because only through having a goal and using your own autonomy, skills, decisions to achieve that goal, that's the only way you feel any self-confidence or sense of power or self-esteem. Otherwise, everybody ends up bored and demoralized and defeated and depressed and anxious and frustrated and hostile or abusive and hedonistic and self-destructive. But conveniently, modern industrial society has a lot of highly addictive antidepressant medication to help you with all of those feelings, which of course keeps you dependent upon the system and faithfully contributing to the system. Thanks, bye.